All right, lesson 2 of section 1 of unit 1, enzymes. How is the structure of enzymes important to cells? All right, remember, enzymes are made of proteins and help to control all the reactions in the cell. They do this by using their folded shape. All reactions need energy to get started, and this is called activation energy. Normally, this is too high for a reaction to happen, but enzymes get them started by lowering the activation energy. In this way, enzymes help to speed up reactions. So remember, we looked at this in class. Without an enzyme, you have a long way to win the prize, and most people are just not strong enough. With an enzyme, what you essentially do is lower the energy that it takes to actually win, and so it makes it easier for you to win the prize. Now, if we look at this with the graph that's more chemistry-based, without an enzyme, very high activation energy. With enzyme, much lower activation energy, and that means that the enzyme has made it easier for the reaction to happen. All right, so remember, enzymes work by taking a substrate, the part that goes into the reaction, and using their active site to either put them together or break them apart into products. So here we have a picture that kind of shows this, and remember, the substrate could either be two things put together or one thing that's broken apart, and pay close attention to the fact that the substrate and the active site have similar shapes, and that's what really allows the enzymes to work, is that shape that matches up with the substrate. So I like to think of these like a wrench. So this would be my enzyme, this would be my active site because that's where things fit in and that's where the action actually happens. This would be my substrate, so I have two things and I want to put them together. So they're going to go into the active site. I got to add a little bit of energy. Always requires some energy. And the enzyme is going to do its thing and create products. All right. Enzymes are very specific, meaning that they will only work on one type of substrate. This is similar to how a certain size wrench will only work on the correct size bolt. Additionally, just like a wrench, enzymes are not used up in a reaction. For an enzyme to be most effective, it needs specific conditions. Remember, two things that can affect how well an enzyme functions are pH and temperature. And if these become too extreme, the enzyme may become denatured, which means it is completely destroyed and will never be able to work again. Not that it doesn't work as well, will not work at all and never will again. So again, think of them as wrenches. Notice these wrenches are labeled by size. You have to use the right size wrench on the right size bolt, just like you have to use the correct enzyme for the correct substrate. I can use a wrench over and over and over again. I don't have to replace it each time. So if you think of wrenches like enzymes, and you think of it in those terms, I think it will really, really help you answer these questions. This kind of shows the optimum pH. So remember, we will have one of these for pH and temperature. We've looked at questions like this. And way down at the bottom where you have a very low pH or a very high pH, the enzyme has become denatured. It only works within a very narrow range. All right, and remember, the bottom line is that enzymes are extremely important to life because otherwise the cell's reactions would happen randomly and at the wrong time. And this just wouldn't work. If there weren't enzymes to help control these reactions, you really just could not have life. So they're very, very important to life. All right, next up we will have section 2 on cell structure.